Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and you guys know that I usually don't like to get political. I don't like to get involved in these particular kinds of topics because I prefer to focus on the positive aspects of the gaming industry and bring you guys information that I find particularly relevant at that time that information is presented. But in order to do that, what I usually tend to do is I scroll through several news feeds of several mainstream websites. I go through Reddit. I go through a bunch of different sources in order to find interesting stories to bring to you guys. And today, the reason I'm doing this video is because for the past 3 or 4 days, like, my feed has just been inundated with this trash. And the reason I call it trash is because pretty much I think all of the stories that I've read about this from major gaming websites, they're all fucking lies. They're all just like flat out, they're spinning this narrative that Jessica Price is some kind of a fucking victim. And I can't take it anymore. I legitimately can't take it anymore. Like, do you expect me to actually read this shit and take your website seriously? Like, what? Like, I'm going crazy over here. I'm not even kidding, because, like, I'm just trying to look for something interesting to talk about, and there's just like fucking Jessica Price got fired from ArenaNet because she was a victim in this conspiracy, this Reddit fucking conspiracy. This Twitter user spouted abuse at her, and she could not talk back. She's being oppressed. There's everything. This is all being painted on multiple websites. Like, guys, don't believe me? Watch this. Watch this. Like, this is insane. Okay, so right now I have a bunch of tabs open. Let's go to the websites first. We got Kotaku. Guild Wars 2 writers fired for calling out a fan on Twitter. Fired for calling out a fan on Twitter? That's what you call that interaction that she just did? Okay, let's continue. ArenaNet's firings reinforced gaming culture's worst impulses. What? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I can't take this shit seriously. Look at this. Nobody at ArenaNet is safe from the hands of Reddit? What? It has nothing. What is wrong with you fucking people? Like, I can't. It was fine until it got. Dude, this is crazy. Look at this. Another one. This is from the same fucking website. 2 stories on Polygon. I just pulled this up in like 2 minutes in order to do this video. I'm not even looking that deeply into this. ArenaNet folded like a cheap cart table, says fired Guild Wars 2 writer. Inside the Guild Wars 2 meeting that's shaken gaming. Why? Because they fired a woman? What? Are you fucking kidding me? I can't take this shit seriously. Look, The Verge. Guild Wars Studio fires 2 employees after clash with streamer. If Reddit wants you fired, they'll fire you. Can you be any more fucking biased towards this goddamn victim narrative? There's even this thing, I don't even know what the fuck this is. IGDA, International Game Developers Association. IGDA says studios need to clear guidelines for social media. What? Clear guidelines for social media? Here's a clear guideline. Use common fucking sense and don't be an asshole. Is that enough? Is that enough of a goddamn guideline? Like, I'm going insane over here. Let's actually get this started. Let's get right on to the bottom of this issue. What began this whole situation? And we're going to go to the very beginning. So Jessica Price, this woman right here, she is game producer, writer, editor, Howling Maynard, ArenaNet narrative team. ArenaNet narrative team. This is written on her Twitter profile, which means she's associated with ArenaNet. She doesn't even have the usual stuff that some of us put on here, which says, my opinions are my own. She doesn't even have that disclaimer. She just has ArenaNet narrative team. You know, when I was working for Broadband TV, I actually, on my Twitter, you guys can actually see it. If you go to my profile, you can actually see it. It even says there still, because whenever I became associated with Broadband TV, the first thing they told me is like, look, we need to make sure that you type out all comments and opinions are my own in your profile. Okay, I didn't even type in here that I was working for Broadband TV when I was working for them. But basically I realized that, you know, to some extent, I gotta be professional out here. I can't just like say completely random shit, right? So Jessica Price represents the ArenaNet narrative team. So what is Jessica Price doing? She did this long stream of posts where she was talking about, you know, writing for Guild Wars 2 and a bunch of stuff about that, which there's a fan of her that found that interesting. That guy is the RAR. Now, the RAR is he's actually a partner of ArenaNet. With that's like a part. I think the ArenaNet has like a partner program for content creators, which means they get like early access to certain things, and they can probably do stuff for giveaways and stuff like that. So basically, he's partnered with ArenaNet for the purpose of content creation. And the RAR Gaming, the day before this interaction, this guy was actually in a live stream saying how much he appreciated Jessica Price's work.
I love Jessica Price's responses. She is like the god of fucking AMAs. Like she just gives great answers all the way through. It's absolutely amazing to read through.
Okay, so the RAR Gaming reads the whole thing because he's interested in Jessica Price's work, and he says, "Really interesting thread to read. However, allow me to disagree slightly. I don't believe the issue lies in the MMORPG genre itself. As your wording would seemingly suggest, I believe the issue lies in the constraints of the Living Stories narrative." And he continues on to say a bunch of basically constructive feedback. That's what I call, because I mean, look at the way he addresses this. Allow me to disagree slightly. He doesn't even like allow me to. He's not even like spouting the usual hatred that you tend to get on the internet. And trust me, I know a lot about that shit because I read every single comment I receive on every single goddamn video. So I know a lot about internet hatred, okay? There's also a lot of good stuff in the comment section for sure, and I appreciate all of you good commenters out there, but there's a lot of hatred, okay? There's a lot of really lashing out at content creators in general. It just happens. So in order to be crystal fucking clear, the RAR said, really interesting thread to read. Allow me to disagree slightly. And then he goes on to provide a bunch of what I would call constructive feedback. Jessica Price's response to this was, thanks for trying to tell me what to do internally, my dude. Really? That in and of itself is very disrespectful. Not enough to fire someone over, but extremely disrespectful to someone that is actually providing constructive criticism. Okay? That's like strike one. Let's call it a couple of strikes, right? Strike one. Thanks for telling me what to do internally, my dude. Okay, we can close that one now. Immediately after this interaction, she goes on to tweet this to her massive following, by the way. Right now she's got 14,000 followers. I believe that at the time she had 10,000 followers against the 2,000 something followers that RAR Gaming has right now. I don't even know how many he had at the time. But anyway, basically, she just tweets this out to her massive audience, right? Today, in being a female game developer, you know, the second I read being a female game developer, I was like, she's just gonna play the gender card. It's like, straight up. This one guy is trying to have a fucking civilized conversation with her. Civilized conversation. Boom! Gender card. Allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how you do your job. And then she quotes his post. And then immediately after, this is like the thing that really gets me, right? Immediately after, she reveals herself to be a complete asshole. Okay? Completely disrespecting this person. Okay? The RAR actually comes back and he says, so much for an open discussion, I guess. I meant no disrespect at all. Never did. Never will. Neither did I imply I knew better, nor has this anything to do with gender. Never did. Never will. I will retract my comment because obviously I'm in the wrong forum for this kind of talk. Boom. End. Okay? He just literally goes in there and he's like, okay, I get it. You don't want to talk to me? That's fine. Let's not have this discussion. That's literally what he did. He just straight up went in there and he just straight up apologized for something he didn't even do wrong. Okay? He apologized for something that he didn't even do wrong. Okay. So let's call this one strike two, right? The fact that she quotes and just like completely demeanors him, whatever. Strike two. Then we go on. Immediately, like shortly after this, she goes, the next rando asshat who attempts to explain the concept of branching dialogue to me as if, you know, having worked in the game narrative for a fucking decade, I have never heard of it, is getting insta-blocked. PSA. And it's like, look, this could be strike three. And you know what happens on strike three. Strike three, you're out. She got fired over this. Okay? She basically got fired over this. And let me explain something. I'm not happy. Like, I've seen some people tweet about how they're happy that she got fired. It fucking sucks, okay? It sucks that someone lost their job over this. As a matter of fact, 2 people lost their job because a colleague jumped in defense of her and he lost his job as well. Which is interesting because she keeps spinning this narrative about how I'm a woman and I'm a victim of this. There's even a quote in here. There was zero reason for him to be there. He wanted to vent his anger and he had the power to command a woman to stand there while he took his feelings out on her, so he did. Again, pulling out the gender card, which this is not a gender issue, as it is proven lately, but with lot less friggin' text right here, a lot less descriptive writing. It's like a fucking footnote. Price later discovered that her colleague, Peter Fries, who defended her in social media threads, was also fired. So guess what? It turns out that he also had the power to command the man to stay there and took his feelings out on him too, because he got the boot as well. Like, I don't know what's the reasoning behind Price getting fired. I know that he jumped out in her defense on Twitter. I don't think that was the only reason he's getting fired. And let's be completely honest, you shouldn't really be washing your dirty laundry in public. So I'm not going to go through a lot more of the details here. But it's like, do you genuinely believe that this woman is a victim like all of these websites? And this is just like shit that I pulled out in 2 minutes. I went to Google, tapped out Jessica Price's firing. You cannot find one single unbiased story in any of the major websites. And that's the reason why I'm doing this video. Because usually when I come upon a controversial topic, like I'll find a couple of stories that I'll bias and I'm like, okay, those guys are being biased. And then I'll find like a reasonable story. With this topic, all I'm finding is this biased bullshit, this fucking victim narrative. And I'm done. I'm fucking done. Like, are you crazy? Are we all fucking crazy out here? Like, what's the problem? And now, just to finalize, just to kind of give the coup de grace in the middle of all this mess, I figured we can close pretty much everything here, with the exception of this last one. Which, I mean, not this one, because this one is also stupid. Like, you need to come up with guidelines. Don't be an asshole. There's your fucking guideline. Use common fucking sense. Don't mistreat your customers. Better yet, don't mistreat your partners. I don't know. Anyway, the last thing that I was also exposed to, not through websites, mind you, but through other YouTube videos, because I was not aware of this. The websites don't talk about this side of Jessica Price. They don't want to talk about this, because this is not going to help their narrative. But basically, the kindest thing that I can say is I'm glad he's no longer around to keep doing harm. And when I found when I came upon this tweet, I was like, oh man, the original tweet is not available, so people are not going to get the context of what this is. But luckily enough, you scroll down deep enough and someone says, who passed away? Total Biscuit. So this is what she had to say about Total Biscuit. The kindest thing I can say is I'm glad he's no longer around. She's glad. She literally celebrated the death of a human fucking being. Do I need to say anything else? Really? Do I? It's ridiculous. This whole situation is fucking ridiculous. And I can't believe that these major gaming websites expect to be taken seriously by spinning this fucking narrative. And I've had enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this is not the video that you wanted from me today. I'm sorry, but I just fucking had to get it out there. Like, my head was exploding.